what does it exactly mean when you're an adult? Are you an adult when you're 18? Researchers are saying, no, not so much. People actually don't become adults until they're as old as 25. And that's because you're still developing your prefrontal cortex. So physically, you are still changing until you're 25. But another thing to keep in mind is a lot of people, especially in the millennial generation, are still living at home well into their late 20s. And that's not necessarily something that you should feel bad about. So maybe this is a bit of a self-serving story, because even though I'm not living at home right now, I feel bad for my generation. I feel like a lot of millennials get made fun of because of the fact that they're still living at home. But there are some researchers that are saying, no, this is all BS. This is all about regression, and this is all about lower expectations, and parents should stop having the lower expectations and force those kids out of that house.
That's bullshit. I'm sorry. I think that that's absolute and total bullshit. In this economy, and there have been difficult economies before. When you look at every single recession, you find these same stories coming up every single recession over the last 30 years, where if you just do a simple Google search, you'll see, oh, look, the Generation Xers, they're all moving home. Oh, look, it's the Generation Y, they're all moving at home and living with their parents. I mean, it's the same thing year after year after year. This has always been that way. Whenever there's a down economy, they always complain about the young people moving back in with their parents, and it's because of, what we talked about earlier about how the income inequality and the flattening out of middle class wages and the lack of jobs, those are more important factors than some sort of, imaginary idea that these kids are just, too coddled to be able to
So
go
you
out.
don't think there's not a changing moray happening in society, it's just an economic reality that always happens in a downturn, which you're correct about that, by the way. I remember all those stories about Generation Xers going back home and living at home. But I agree with you, and it's the economic game that's rigged against them right now. But still, you got to get the fuck out of my house if you're 25 years old and you're living at my house. So, you got to get out.
So let me jump in very quickly. I think a lot of times there's this weird misconception that millennials enjoy living with their parents well into their... I mean, you can't bring someone home. Like, it sucks. Who wants to live at home when you're like near 30? No one wants to do it. It is an economic reality. So I don't like this stereotype that young people are just lazy and they don't want to do it. They want their mom to do their laundry for them or whatever.
Well, a lot of people would say that this is the effect of an entitled generation, or people who are giving participation trophies so they don't build resiliency. And this is how it ends up, right? So they just keep becoming dependent on their parents and stuff. I think, even with as bad as the economy is, I mean, I went to college. I know how I lived horribly, right? We've all lived horribly in a college dorm or in an apartment somewhere, eating Spam and what have you. And I think that you can do that as an adult. You don't have to live comfortably in your late 20s. You can go rough it and get an apartment with 3 other people or whatever. It's doable. So I don't, my brother lived at my parents' house, my older brother, till he was, out of law school. So he was in law school. That was his thing. I'm in school, so he stayed. But I got the F out. Even before I finished college, I couldn't wait to get out, right?
Well, and issues are a little bit different. If there aren't any jobs available, then you're not able to pay off your student loans. And the student loan situation is different now than it was even just 10 years ago.
You can't sell drugs to your friends. Come on.
That's a good point.
Right?
God, why didn't I think of that?
Get a medical marijuana license
man.
and start selling drugs.
Well, and also when you look at cognitive science, you mentioned the latest science that it just came out just a few years ago that shows that the prefrontal cortex of human beings is not fully developed until they're in their mid-20s, which is why you see, teenagers making such impulsive, rash decisions that are kind of really stupid.
Like joining the military?
Oh, like jumping off of buildings and doing jackass type things is what I was thinking more of. So. There's nothing wrong with joining the military.
Don't you think that's why they, the people who they try to recruit are young?
Well, I think that's why they do recruit younger people, because they have no sense of what it's like to actually put your life on the line and go kill people.
They're not all the way developed yet.
But because they're not all the way developed, that makes it easier to send young people out. But I think that is really what's more at work than this idea that they're just lazy. That it's not really what these researchers would like it to be, because it's much more fun to bash millennials. But this is not anything new or unusual. So.
And I want to close with one quote from a professor of sociology at the University of Kentucky. Often it's claimed it's for economic reasons, but actually it's not really for that. There's a loss of aspiration for independence and striking out on your own. So this Frank guy is full of shit.
I'd like to see his data on that.
know,
I'd like
I
to
know.
see who he actually talked to, how many people he actually spoke with, who
Yeah.
actually gave him that impression.